Okay, Cameron hit the wrong button. Just.
I was going to accept responsibility.
Now it feels like Firearms Friday. Good morning, people.
Yeah, good morning.
St. Michael's with us. Been a hot minute. Patrick drew first blood again. My man.
Right. And, yeah.
So what happened? You rescheduled that Friday meeting, Patrick? Or did you finally get wise and just say, hey, look, bitches, we have shit to do that's more important than whatever it is we're talking about this morning. Work can wait a half an hour. In case you're wondering, that is the correct answer.
Right. So, it is, it's Firearms Friday, baby.
It is.
And, yeah, there's stuff to talk about. We're going to have to go back to the Kyle Rittenhouse well because, oh my God, Binger. Chat, if you can help us come up with a good derogatory name for Binger, we can normally do that ourselves.
Little Binger's all right.
Yeah.
Trigger Binger's pretty solid.
And so far, I think Little Binger is the winner just because he looks enough like Littlefinger.
Yeah, he does.
And he's manipulative as shit.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the whole thing about
I could definitely see this guy running a whorehouse in the capital city.
So, I like to imagine... What would a person... What was the quote where, like, he tells Sansa, just imagine what somebody stands to gain from manipulating this situation, and then just assume that that's what they're doing and why they're doing it?
And that's exactly how you should expect Binger to be.
Yes.
Because, okay, we're not going to go too deep into the weeds on the Rittenhouse story
itself
this morning.
Because we've got... we don't have a verdict yet.
Right. We will be talking, especially if the verdict comes back wrong, because let's be real, this, much like the Chauvin case, there's an obvious wrong answer in this one. But especially if the verdict comes back wrong, we will be spending a lot of time talking about how Binger broke the law with obvious, clear malice of forethought.
That's right, Danny. Go Dogs.
Admitted to it in his closing arguments. Where he withheld material exculpatory evidence and manipulated that evidence to try and cause it to appear to be inculpatory by using a fabricated copy of a still image from a video, which is artificially enhanced, and then handed intentionally degraded evidence to the defense to prevent them from being adequately prepared to rebut the claim, the clearly false claim that he made based on that footage. And then we get this one. If there were any doubt that Binger should be in jail, this is not just reckless. We're going to talk about this a little bit.
Okay, just before we move into the safety portion of it, can we just talk about how
Binger's watched way too many action movies?
Just how cringy this is. Anybody that's ever, spent 5 minutes in the same room as somebody shooting a gun knows, for starters, you don't put your face on it.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. He's actually got a good cheek weld, but his buttstock is way too high. I mean, you want that good cheek weld so that the sights are where they're supposed to be. And that good cheek weld needs to be something that is muscle memory.
See, Papa Sheepdog taught me to do the tuck, right? Where you get that sumbitch deep in the shoulders so that no matter how hard it kicks, you're tucked in, man.
Yeah, deep in the shoulder, yeah, but you got to have that cheek weld. Okay, I've killed armed men while they were running at 300 yards. The cheek weld matters. Okay. With iron sights.
Fair enough.
In the dark.
Fair enough. I was taught don't put your face on the gun, though.
That's incorrect.
Well, then I guess I was taught incorrect.
But his head His head should not be straight up like that while he's holding the rifle. Right, he's got the bottom corner of the buttstock there. If the AR had anywhere near the kick that the temporary PTSD reporter said it does, he'd lose his shoulder on this one. Thank gods the AR has 0 kick.
It's loud as hell.
It doesn't kick you as hard as punching me in the shoulder does. I'm not saying if I hit you back. Okay? Just punching a fat man in the shoulder is going to hurt your arm more than pulling that trigger. But the man's got his finger on the trigger.
And that's the thing.
Aiming the rifle at the court hill and... Oh, Patrick, yes. Oddly enough, yes, there was some uphill both ways there. Afghanistan is a shitty place. They were short hills, but I did have to run up them both ways. The valley, up, down, and I almost fell on my ass. It was horrible. Finger on the trigger. Now, Crowder did a bit where he was demonstrating with a real AR, with an actual AR, some things about the way that Kyle was holding his weapon to prove that many of the claims that the prosecution made are false. Provably false because they're impossible claims. And in that, Crowder made it a point to show off to the audience, he opened the rifle, removed the bolt carrier and the charging handle, and closed the rifle back up. So there was no way that even if a responsible adult like Crowder didn't clear the rifle before he began to manipulate it, that the rifle Crowder was using could fire. You can see very clearly in this image right here, that is the bolt carrier, that is the rear charging handle. This rifle, unless somebody has removed the firing pin from that bolt carrier, which I find improbable given the circumstances, this rifle is ready to rock and roll. That is not to say that it's necessarily loaded, but we do know this. It's on video, right? This is public record now. The rifle was handed to Binger by a police officer. Binger then, without clearing the rifle, aimed it at the audience in the court and the jury.
That's not intimidating at all.
With his finger on the trigger.
Look, we've talked before about how I was brought up learning 3 rules of gun safety. The NRA is going to tell you that there are 4 rules of gun safety. But look, the thing that is absolutely 100%, without question, the single most important rule of gun safety is that this right here, this is your safety.
In every single image you see of Kyle where he's not actually killing a pedophile, look at that finger. Look at that trigger discipline.
And that's what it is. It's trigger discipline. Here's the deal.
Even when he was running from the mob, bless you. Even when he was running from the mob, right? He had his weapon at the low ready, with his finger outside of the well, along the top edge of the weapon, right? He never put his finger on the trigger. In the videos and photographs, the many hundreds of videos and photographs that we've seen, if he's not actively eliminating a serial child rapist, his finger is out of the trigger well and along the lower receiver like that, the way it's supposed to be. Unlike Little Binger, who without clearing his rifle, aimed it at the jury with his finger on the trigger. Gee, that sounds like somebody we've heard a little something about recently.
Yeah. What? Okay, so Binger was handed the rifle by a cop, and so Binger assumed that the weapon was safe, and he didn't check it himself. Kind of like how Alec Baldwin was handed a gun by an assistant director who told him it was a cold gun. Okay, and we've discussed how I don't necessarily think that Alec Baldwin is solely to blame for what happened on the set of the movie. But nonetheless, we have a very recent, very public example of what happens when somebody else screws up before they hand you a weapon. And yeah, that's exactly what this is. And seriously, I guarantee you, I don't even know how we would begin to research this, but I guarantee you, 99% of all, call them whatever you want, gun accidents, negligent discharges, whatever, 99% of them, I guarantee you, break rule 1, which is, this is your safety. This has always been your safety. This will always be your safety. This, if you're left-handed, this is your safety. But this is your safety. You keep this off the bang button, and it's not going to go bang. They build them that way on purpose. It's a feature, not a bug. I mean, do you disagree? You still shouldn't point it at people if you don't intend to shoot them.
That is safety rule number 1, is you only ever aim the weapon at the target you intend to destroy. Never aim the weapon at anything that you do not intend to destroy. Trigger discipline is a major safety violation, though. This lack of trigger discipline that we're looking at right here is a major.
Steve says all guns are loaded.
Correct.
That's okay. I'm being a little hyperbolic and excited because this image is just so ridiculous. It is so cringe. And man, can you picture what Kyle is thinking? Sitting there watching bangers, be like, that's my gun. That's like watching another dude kiss your girlfriend.
Right.
And do it badly. Like, just, woo. So, and look, there's a thing that I really want to touch on, okay? And yes, Patrick, DGUs, I promise. We'll get to DGUs. I want to get to DGUs, right?
St. Michael's saying congratulations for the growth. We appreciate you, brother. We do.
Yeah,
and,
very much.
Y'all can keep helping. Like, share, and subscribe, and all that good jive. That good jive.
All the things. Like the LSS. So, there's a lot of criticism that's been levied at Kyle Rittenhouse. Some of it is legitimate, and some of it is not legitimate, okay? Let's just assume for a second that he was a 17-year-old kid with a hero complex that got in over his head. Let's just say that's the narrative. Fine. Why was there a thing for him to be heroic about? And what I mean to say is Kyle's not so much to blame as the rest of us are. And I don't necessarily mean us.
Right. I mean, we're in Georgia. We haven't seen serious BLM rioting. We had that one thing where they tried to take over the Wendy's, and Mayor Black Girl Magic was totally all about it until they murdered a little black girl. And then that shit got shut down.
Yeah, it turned out her magic did not extend to necromancy.
Correct.
Anyhow.
Nor does it extend to the wine shelf, apparently. I saw a whole rack of Black Girl Magic wine at a Target in frickin' Chambly the other day. And yeah, it's on clearance. And the rack is full. So Mayor Black Girl Magic's wine is on clearance at the Target in the Ritzy neighborhood. And nobody's buying it. And that made me chuckle.
Right. Okay. So, but what I'm driving
because
at
she's
is
a racist.
No, I got it. What I'm driving at is, you know, when shit hits the fan, when things get really bad, the U.S. military is okay with 17-year-olds carrying rifles, right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. All right. So what we have are riots that are so out of control that persist for so long that a 17-year-old feels compelled to protect a community. How the hell did things go so far off the rails that a 17-year-old has to volunteer to protect a community, and then somehow at the end of it, he's the bad guy? We have a new person just joined. Krups. And it looks like Chris is going to answer.
So Krups, we're talking about Binger a little bit. We're talking about the finger on the trigger. We're not going to go deep in the weeds on the Kenosha kid today. just because we still don't have a verdict. So there haven't been any significant new developments apart from the question 5 issue, which we'll talk about in more detail after we get a verdict. Or maybe if we don't have a verdict by Monday evening, we'll probably speculate a bit on why that is come Tuesday morning.
And I'm not panicked about the lack of a verdict yet. Like, I thought about it. This should have been open and shut, but a lot of these high-profile cases, the jury tends to deliberate for at least a few days, sometimes a week or two. So,
well, they've got an activist juror that's holding everything up.
Potentially.
No. Have you seen question 5?
I have not seen question.
Yeah, there's no more question.
Okay. Fair enough.
Question 5 tells us conclusively that the foreman of the jury is a woman and is actively trying to convict Kyle.
Okay, but and we can swing back around to that. But I really want to hammer this point home. I'm actually kind of tired of Kyle getting blame. Okay.
Yes.
You want to say that it was irresponsible for him and that it was irresponsible for his parents to allow him. Like, you went to a riot and riot shit happened. Okay, fine. That is a fair criticism. It really is. But you cannot take that criticism alone in isolation. The fact that there was a riot, and not just a riot, multiple riots, and everybody, including CNN itself, are saying, oh, it's fiery, but mostly peaceful. No, shit right up your nose, okay? The only reason Kyle was allowed to act irresponsibly, and I'm starting to come to think that maybe he wasn't terribly irresponsible, because at some point, somebody needs to man the hell up and protect the community.
That's exactly where I was going to get.
Oh,
where we're getting to.
What? Your property is not worth more than my life? Bullshit. If I try and take it away from you by force, it is. And let's just say, okay, fine. You go and you work your job for like 11 years, right? And you save your money and you save your money and you save your money, right? And then you put everything on the line. You've always wanted to open a hole-in-the-wall sports memorabilia bar. And you literally sacrifice everything. You open this bar, and then 2 years later, there's riots, and people are going to burn your bar down. Your life's work, over a decade of your life, everything that you have is put into this bar, and it's about to get burned down. And suddenly, oh, my property is not worth your life.
It absolutely is. As soon as you think that, okay, so, you think that your property is worth more than my life? Well, one of us does.
I happen to agree with that.
You came to the blackjack table and you put your life on the line, hoping that you would win my property, and you lost the bet.
So, anyhow, and maybe, I don't know, maybe that's a hot take. Maybe I'm wrong. We have a tendency to get a little excited here.
And the real question to ask in the case of the Kenosha riots, like every other riot that happened last year, is where the hell were the police? Where the hell was the National Guard? Well, it's not a difficult question to answer.
No, I don't just mean
our governments are complicit with these terrorists.
I don't just mean the cops.
Oh, no, I agree.
I mean us. I mean, there's like we talked before about how, like, until recently I lived in Rockmart, Georgia, and that shit was never going to happen in Rockmart, Georgia. Right. Not once, because there would be like a wall of men armed with deer rifles and shotguns just saying, not today.
No, you're seeing these riots in Granolavilles.
So
now, I don't know about Kenosha so much. Sounds like there's a pretty avid hunting community in Kenosha, which makes me suspect that
he'll get it, ladies and gentlemen. It'll happen. I can smell it cooking.
I made the mistake of reading Alex's comment. I'm not going to dig into that right now, because it's a little off the trail. But it did derail me. Oh, so as I understand it, Kenosha has a pretty thriving hunting community that leads me to believe that it is a little more conservative. The likelihood is that there are more armed conservatives there than in places like, say, Portland. And so your question is absolutely legit. Where the hell were you? Right? Have y'all seen the video that's been running around popped off of TikTok recently. This brother on the subway just punches this woman in the face, right? Just out of nowhere, punches her in the face like 3 times. And nobody even says anything about it. There's a half a dozen people standing around shooting video of it. Not one grown damn man stepped in to defend that woman. Right? It's a subway in New York. Of course not one grown damn man stepped in to defend that woman.
None of them identify
They're a
as
bunch
men.
of low-T Democrats. They don't identify as testicles.
But yeah, look,
I meant with testicles.
I knew what you meant, but yeah, just to really hammer this home, like, even if there is legitimate.
St. Michael, there will be riots. It's got nothing to do with race. BLM's entire agenda is not based on race. It is based on Marxism. Race is a thin patina that they use to play that card.
But look, even though there are some legitimate criticisms you could level at Rittenhouse, and we've even discussed those on this show, I'm tired of it. I'm not taking that tack anymore because nobody else stepped up. So yeah, a 17-year-old got involved and things got messy. Well, no shit. All the grown-ups went home. At least there was, I'll even go so far as to say, at least there was a 17-year-old with enough sack to try and make a difference. But that's that.
Well,
we have 5 minutes
and
left.
That's
We
the
can
show. Let's see what we've got this morning. Oh, we've got an ad. Screw your ad.
Next.
Yeah. Well, they lost. Woman says she shot estranged boyfriend, according to Lawrence County deputies. Lawrence County, Ohio. WOWK? Okay.
Wow.
Lawrence. Wow, okay.
Walk.
It's woke radio.
Walk.
Lawrence County Sheriff's Office is investigating a shooting that occurred around 2:35 a.m. on Monday. Deputies responded to the 300 block of Township Road in Proctorville, Ohio. The occupant of the home, 31-year-old Natasha Clark, told deputies that she had shot her estranged boyfriend as he tried to enter through her front door. The man suffered one wound to the chest from a small caliber handgun, and he was transported to St. Mary's Hospital in Huntington, West Virginia. He is in stable condition. This incident is still under investigation. I wonder if that small caliber handgun was larger than, I don't know, a .223, for example.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because a small caliber handgun, unless it's .22 long rifle,
a long rifle is probably not a handgun.
Well, no, there are handguns that fire .22 long rifle rounds.
Well, that's true. But when you say .22 long rifle, people think of.
Yeah, well, 22 LR is a round, not necessarily a rifle.
I know. I used to have several hundred rounds of it.
But
used to.
Unless you're talking about something like that, you're probably talking. They say small caliber. You're probably talking about like a 9mm, which is larger than it's a very large caliber gun, 5.56 or .223 firing AR-15 that Kyle Rittenhouse had, which was described by the prosecutor and the witness, Gage Grosskreutz, as a very large caliber gun, firing very large caliber hollow points that explode when they enter the body.
I know, when I heard about that, I was like, I want some of those. Hollow points that explode. Yes.
I mean,
Hey, we have time. Let's try and squeeze in another one, because this one...
this looks like a BRM. Sorry, sweetheart. Back to the range. But good on you for taking out the bad guy.
Yeah, seriously. God created men. Sam Colt made them equal.
And by man shall his blood be shed. The hell is this? You're boring.
No, homeowner shoots man in the leg. Okay.
BRM. Go away.
Ba-bum.
Camp County homeowner shoots man suspected of breaking into shed. You want to take this one, Cam?
Sure.
Turn it up for you.
Thank you. Camp County. The Camp County Sheriff's Office reported that an area homeowner shot a man suspected of attempting to steal tools from his shed. Hey, it's almost like we just talked about you're the one that decided that your life was worth less than my property. Anyhow, A Camp County Sheriff's deputy was dispatched at 4:40 a.m. to a residence on a Camp County road. The homeowner stated that he heard a truck with a loud exhaust driving down the dead-end road in front of his house at around 4:30 a.m. before hearing the engine turn off in the road in front of his house. A short time later, the homeowner stated he heard a noise outside and observed a male subject breaking into his storage shed. The report states that the homeowner grabbed his shotgun and went out to confront the subject, who was allegedly breaking into the building with tools belonging to the homeowner. He shot the intruder. However, the man got up and they struggled for the gun. The suspect was shot again before he managed to take a gun and flee. What kind of drugs was this guy on? 2 rounds from a shotgun? You fight the owner, take his weapon, and run? Investigator Randy Huggins joined Deputy Perez at the scene. Several tools were found that belonged to the homeowner, as well as several spots of blood from the suspect, you think? At this point, we did not know the identity of the suspect. We contacted all the area hospitals and law enforcement. We got a call later that morning from Tyler Police Department saying there was a gunshot victim at UT Main Hospital. The report states that Huggins went to UT Health Tyler and identified the suspect as 39-year-old Tony Gross.
Correct.
I don't think we can give this a BRM. Like, when you give somebody 2 rounds with a shotgun and they keep ticking, you know, sometimes God just intervenes.
We need a new badge for this guy, the ticking chicken.
Oh, man. Yeah, like, that's impressive, though. Like, I mean...
Yeah, this is a story of a man who found himself in a situation, and God looked down on this man and said, "You have not yet suffered enough."
I know, right? I mean, this guy literally looks like a plate of spilled SpaghettiOs at this point.
Walking around.
Oh, okay. Let's do. It's 8:00, but let's do one more.
We got one more. We got one more in us.
Uno más.
Okay.
Albert Manansala heard a commotion going on in a neighbor's home in a Didido. Jesus.
Didido on a recent Monday morning.
On a recent Monday morning.
Okay, we don't bring that down just a
We don't know which Monday morning, but it was a recent one.
It was last Monday.
I get it. He looked through a window and saw a man trying to force himself into the house. Whoops. I'm going to guess the fact that there's a mugshot that this is not a DRT.
That's unfortunate, not correct.
I grabbed my gun and went and made sure that the front area was clear because you don't know how many are there. Then I ran back and saw him and chased him. Actually, it's pretty reasonable. He went and explored the situation and made sure that nobody was going to hit him over the back of the head. And Manansala then did what he prayed he would never have to do. I put a gun on his face and said, "I want to see your hands. Let me see your hands. I don't want to shoot you today." Manansala said the man he stopped, Eric Fortes, was released from prison a few days earlier. He was serving time on a theft by receiving charge after he'd been found driving a stolen vehicle in 2019. He had also been charged with possession of a Schedule II controlled substance in 2018. According to court documents, shortly before Manansala intervened, Fortes was trying to get inside the neighbor's home, reaching through the door and grabbing at the residence, according to court documents. In the struggle to keep Fortes out, the homeowners repeatedly slammed the door on his arm. He continued to try and force his way inside. Court documents stated, "That date was just so lucky I didn't go to work early," said Manansala, who was the owner of whatever. Okay. Oh, look, Scrimshaw Rose has joined us.
Hey, good morning.
Look, man. Okay, so career criminal continues to career criminal,
Yep.
right? This is, you know, like, there are different levels of criminality and how people get swept up in the criminal justice system. I'm going to go out on a limb and say when you've been released from prison recently, like, you can still smell the prison.
For example, Gage Grosskreutz?
I'm sorry, that was Rosenbaum.
Rosenbaum.
Yeah, like when you can still smell the prison stank on you, and you're already trying to break into a house.
Like you're still wearing the bracelet from the mental ward that you were just released from?
I am not going to comment on that, and I have comments. None of them are appropriate for the air. Anyhow, you're that level of criminal, right? Like, okay, we're gonna let you out. Oh, just be good for a week. Oh, you can't even be good for a week? Okay, all right. This guy's lucky he didn't get shot in the face. I suspect Chris would have shot him in the face. and just another thing, it says here that like he stuck the gun in the guy's face. Don't do that. That's another one of those things that looks great in TV shows and movies, but the whole advantage to a gun is
range.
Once you're inside of about 10 feet, you now have less than a second to react. And that might seem like, oh, well, I'll just pull the trigger.
No. What you're talking about, you don't have time to draw your weapon. If you've already got it out, it's a little different.
Even if you've already got it out, you are playing with fire. Like, especially somebody like this guy who's probably not trained. He's had no military training, no police officer training, anything like that. Like, you don't do this, right? Because a guy like Chris is going to wait on me to relax for a second. And then he's going to break my arm and take my gun.
That's fair. All right. Guys, that's all we've got this week. It is Friday. We're going into the weekend. Y'all be safe out there.
Happy Faff. And remember, we're doing a special Thanksgiving episode. That's
Indeed.
right. Praise capitalism and the holiday season. And seriously, chat, think about what you're thankful for.
Because we're going to ask.
We're thankful for things. We're going to talk about things that we're thankful for.
Welcome to homework.
And it's the adult world. And we are going to discuss, of course, the first Thanksgiving, carry on a tradition. And make all that happen.
Oh, nice. Alex shot first place in competition a couple weekends ago and won a suppressor. Now he gets to sit in NFA jail for a year. Yeah.
Yeah, because the suppressor's super dangerous.
Right?
I'm going to attach a thing to my gun that's going to decrease its overall accuracy, and instead of it being a really loud bang, it's just a bang. That totally needs a special permit.
Yeah, it's just... The whole mystique around the suppressor... Guys, it's a safety device, okay? It's a safety device. It's for hearing protection. You're not assassinating KGB agents with this thing without alerting the other KGB agents in the room. That's not what they do. That's not how that works.
And yeah, it'll be the regular time, 7:30. So be there or be square. And look, if it's Thanksgiving and you just want to sleep in and catch the show on the replay.
And to be clear, we're going to do a special on Thanksgiving. That doesn't mean we know what the format is going to be exactly.
Oh, we know what the format's going to be. We're talking about things that we're thankful for. We're going to talk about...
yeah, but is it just me and you? Are we gonna do it on location somewhere? Are we gonna invite some special guests?
I can
think of a handful of special guests in the chat right now that'd be all about hopping in here.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe.
See?
Okay.
So it'll be special. We got a week to figure out how special. Y'all be safe out there. We love you, and we'll see you Monday morning. That's the wrong button. Jesus Christ. Neither one of us can get it.